Hey there, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube. Before the video starts, I want to let you know that if you like it, to leave a like and a comment down below. And while you're at it, subscribe to the channel and click the little bell icon to be up to date with my latest content, as well as joining the notification squad or wolfification squad like this pack legend here. Hello viewers, it has come to my attention that only a small percentage of you subscribe to the channel. Your continued support aids me in making great content, as well as making improvements to older videos. Hunt down that subscribe button, and you can continue to see more content later on, like this video right now.
I hope you enjoyed learning about my choices and why I picked all of the things that I did.
Hey there, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube. Recently, RedSentimentFilms did a video delving into the reasons and meaning behind the armor he wears for his machinimas, and I figured I'd do the same. However, I will not be going over just one set of armor that has become a staple for my channel. I'll be going over two armor sets that, in my opinion, are very recognizable in my videos and channel. I will go over the overview of the armors in question, talk about what they appeared in, and then delve into each piece, as well as to why I wore them. So, without further ado, let's jump into the hunt and look at the armors of PureGrendal. In April 2015, I posted one of my first machinimas, excluding the Brotherhood of Assassins machinima, on the channel called Death Spartans, with a very grainy and poor video quality due to my old Dazzle capture card I'd had since 2011. Inspired by the Star Wars Legends book by Joe Schreiber known as Star Wars Death Troopers. The Spartan's armor in the video was more of a prototype of what was later to come on the channel. I will admit that a lot of the armor I wore was either between what came later and what was just for videos, oftentimes forgetting to change out of the armor for films when hanging out with friends for party games. Now, this is after I purged all of my older content from 2010 to 2013. This event was known to me as the PureGrendal Purge. This prototype armor became something new after testing out armor pieces that fit well to me personally. For that, we get an armor set that became known as Delta 747 or Spartan Colt. This armor became my go-to armor to wear on a regular basis on Halo Reach from 2015 to 2016. Colt's armor was rather simple in its design with a heavy military inspiration. The armor officially debuted on the channel in 2015, with the colors being a mix of tan and khaki to give it a desert marine feel, before going with the typical Spartan dark green or sage on steel or black, with the debut of the Spartan Colt video in 2017. With a return to the tan and khaki colors in Mike 14-1500 Spreading Dead series with a group of bandits. Now, being honest, the armor pieces were either selected by sight or just how cool they looked together. There was no real deep thought process behind them. Starting off with the helmet, the Mjolnir Mark V CNM variant with a black visor. My main reasoning for wearing this helmet was only because I thought it looked really cool at the time, and how it inspired Marines seeing Master Chief wearing the core Mark V helmet in Halo Combat Evolved. The visor was only because of color preference. The shoulders were both ODST shoulder pieces, trying to go with a more tactical and less bulk train of thought. If the Spartans in Halo were anyway an elite form of the Special Forces in the real military, whose motto being feet first into hell, are Halo's version of the Navy SEALs. The lightweight look of the armor pieces ensures that, in my mind, it keeps the soldier maneuverable and ready to attack nearby threats. At least, that would have worked were it not for the rather bulky chest of Assault Commando. Literally, there was no need to go super deep as to why I wore this. A, it gives a sense of command. B, it reminds me more of a Marine leader. And obviously, C, Carter wore this chest. Enough said about this. The chest gave zero regard for movement, in my opinion, and gave no tactical advantage other than more ammo. The wrist jumped back and forth between the tactical tac pad wrist and the tactical UGPS before sticking with the latter for Spartan Colt. It was just another, this looks cool so I'll wear it decision. Jumping back to the tactical appeal was the utility tactical soft case. My thoughts were, if I were a soldier in the field and I had extra space for ammo, I would want this on my hip. As I said, there was no real deep thought process when it came down to Spartan Colt's armor. Although the needs were simple, they were just another choice of what looked cool to my eyes, and not about tactical appeal in the slightest. Now, if I'm being honest, Spartan Colt's armor seemed like a good idea at the time deal, as I was more inspired by films like Battle Los Angeles, Starship Troopers, and machinimas like Elites of War by Trigram Studios, and Day 2 by Lambda D. I loved wearing the armor for the short time that I did, and it does make its fair share of appearances from time to time, as well as a future appearance in an upcoming video down the line.
Look it out! Drop that 1,000-pounder on the red smoke! Now! The Hussars have everything east of I-95!
After getting off of a mild hiatus, not lasting long due to a very massive lack of creativity, and me being in a rather dark place for a good while, I revamped the armor for my Spartan, walking away from the assault style of armor, and favoring a more tactical appearance that would go well with my more wolf aesthetic. In 2016, the armor would debut in the trailer of a joke film known as PureGrendal vs. Mike 14-1500. I have to admit, it was more of a fun project between friends rather than an actual skirmish, but the armor that stuck around would become a permanent staple of the channel, with it making regular appearances starting in the Mike 14-1500 vs. PureGrendal Machinima in 2016, the PureGrendal Captured Machinima and the Machinima Short compilation video in 2018, the Consequences Machinima based off of a Starve or Curse Feed the Soul story I was reading at the time, and the PlayStation Heresy Machinima in 2020. This armor also makes its appearance currently in Halo Infinite today, so this is the armor that still stands as one of my personal favorite armor sets. Starting with the helmet, the Commando, base variant, dropping the favoritism for the Mjolnir Mark V, and going for the Spec Ops feel of the Commando helm. Again, drawing inspiration from war movies and personal preference, the Commando helm still made the first big change to the armor, paving the way to later changes with the visor jumping between black and gold before sticking with the former. Another one of the few armor pieces to remain from the old Colt armor set was the ODST shoulders. While my armor choice remained the same for the shoulders and later the utility, my reasons have changed somewhat. Yes, they are still very much lightweight armor and still have a tactical feel to it. Thinking more lightweight, sacrificing firepower and heavy armor for a more breathable and maneuverable armor scheme. Moving right along to the chest plate, I moved from the Assault Commando chest to the more familiar Tactical Patrol chest, something that Red Sentiment and I wear. The Yile sniper scarf that the chest has reminds me of my two Shamog scarves that I wear from time to time. Whether it's a cold day or camping, I love the little nod to the scarf I love to wear that I still have today. For later iterations of the armor set, when MCC released the TAC Patrol R chest, I wore that to signify that the Spartan had survived some form of an attack, resulting in the loss of an arm, requiring the need of a cybernetic prosthesis so he could continue his service. The wrist is rather self-explanatory, as the Assault Breacher is just an extra set of shotgun shells on his wrist, in the case things got rather close for the need of a shotgun in the field. As mentioned with the shoulders and the visor, the utility was one of the few pieces of the Colt armor that stuck around, even making the move with the shoulders into Halo Infinite. The tactical softcase still maintains its reason for being on the set. If the situation called for extra ammo or supplies, it's better just to have it rather than regret not having it. The knees were the last thing that changed with the new set, switching from the Grenadier knees to the FJ Para, rounding out the lightweight tactical look of the entire set. I have no large reason as to why I wear the Para. They were just a simple choice that looked nice to the eye. The same can be said for the set's color scheme, leaving behind the dusty desert camo and the forest camo of Colt's armor, and moving into the dark colors of the Wolf. We're heavily inspired by the Saber Wolf skin colors from Killer Instinct, black on gold. Looking at the loadout for both armor sets was not a simple task for me, as I was very well rounded, slightly, in what I used. However, typically I played very much like an assault player with a run and gun mentality when it came down to it. When I wore the Colt armor set, I stuck with the classic Halo loadout, with an assault rifle and magnum sidearm, or running a grenade launcher if I could get my hands on one. For the armor ability I used for the set, I used the sprint module just to punctuate the whole run and gun mentality to a very literal extent. As mentioned with the creation of the Colt armor, there was no real deep thought process going into everything. With the Wolf armor set's loadout, I went with something that went well with the mid to short range encounters that the character partook in. I went with a DMR for mid to long range encounters and a shotgun for close encounters, alternating between that and the sword. The armor ability, like the shoulders and utility and visor, remain the same, but the reasons have changed from the run and gun to shoot, move, communicate, adopting a true tactic in not remaining in one place for too long, and not running headlong into a situation without thinking twice on the probable consequences. Looking back, both armors still share one glaring similarity. Both have a heavy military look to them with a heavy military inspiration. Yes, both are different in how they approach situations. One goes in guns blazing with a deep-seated hatred for those who created him, meaning Colt. The other takes the slow approach to things, thinking things out before acting. In a way, these two sets, these two characters, are two massive pieces of different personalities of mine. One who acts without thinking, who later changes and learns that actions without thought are just fruitless and could later lead to massive self-destruction. Making armor to wear is almost like making a piece of art. One wrong sketch could either make or break the piece. I hope you enjoyed taking this trip with me down memory lane, looking back at my old armor set and looking at my current one. I do look forward to making future content down the line, with future projects in the works, such as the aforementioned Machinima with Spartan Colt and Hunting Eternal. That's going to be it for this video. I thank you all so much for joining me today, and as always, I will see you all on the next battlefield. How loud and proud, Pack Legends.